Hi everybody, this is a light language transmission. It's about the balance that is coming in today with the super full moon in Libra. And I'm also aware that Libra is, so the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Libra, opposite sides of the wheel. So Libra is about relating to others, and Aries is about the self. It's like a newborn, and when you're newborn, you're like aware of yourself. You're very in the ego, I guess, the self-identity, learning about the self-identity. Libra is when you're taking that and extending it to the world outside of you and how you relate to others and how others impact you. And this really feels like the theme today for me. I have had lots of information and messages coming in around balance in nature and the universe. And what's inevitable and what we have control over and what we don't have control over. Obviously in the world there's, at the moment, this is in focus with all the rules that have been imposed on us to keep people safe, in theory. Then where do our human rights and our human freedoms come into that? And our self-identity and our own beliefs and our own wishes. So what's come to the fore, I've seen this in several ways. A memory flashed back up on Facebook yesterday, so under the similar astrology, where I was dreaming about, I was sitting in the ocean and I had, there was a fish, a goldfish, in the water swimming around me, and I was drinking a drink, like probably a sugary drink, and it was coloured, so like Fanta or something like that, and I dropped it into, some drops dropped into the water, and I was really concerned about it killing the fish because it's not their natural environment to have these things in there. But of course the ocean is vast and the drops just disappeared and dispersed into the water. However, I remember in the dream there was anxiety about the effect I was having on the fish by polluting its environment, and I somehow managed to catch the fish and save it. And when I released it into its better environment, a big fish came and ate it. So there was something in there about nature taking care of things and nature having its own higher intelligence and higher purpose about when it's time for something to be, when something's finished its role or its journey in this world, and also nature cleaning itself up and things like that, and exactly what our part is in it. And the message that I'm getting coming through from these cards as well is very much about there being a higher plan that we're all part of. And when we're trying to control it from our lower self, from our mind, from our ego, without connecting to that oneness of everything in the higher consciousness, it's, no matter what we do, it's inevitably going to turn out the way it's meant to turn out. So another example is this morning I woke up and one of my cats was under my bed. He came in, he always announces himself, so it wakes me up. So he meows at me, says hi, lets me know that he's, brought some hunt home, and under my bed with a mouse. These are beautiful little mice. They have this incredible role in nature of, like eating the seeds and moving them around, and therefore helping with the distribution of where plants grow and helping to germinate them and things like that. But also being mice, they're at the bottom of the food chain, so they are really food for a lot of, they're supposed to be food for a lot of other creatures who also have important roles. For my cats, it's about their agility and their hunting prowess and their need to bring hunt home to contribute, and these are all important things in the cat world. But it's also they play with them. They just play with them, and then they're surprised when eventually they perish. And because they don't need them for food, obviously, but they still have those instincts. And then even after they have perished, they still keep playing with them, expecting them to get up and play back, and they obviously are not. But so this morning, I looked under the bed, ridiculous hour of the morning, I should have been sleeping, and my cat was just sitting there next to the mouse, who was, they were nose to nose, neither of them moving, just looking at each other. And I was like, oh, that's really weird, that they were both predator and prey, just sitting there, still just being non-active, not running, not chasing. And this has been a theme around the full moon as well. It's been a period of inactivity where we go deeper, where we go into stillness, where we explore our fears and review our past and look at why we're feeling the way we are, work on any traumatic experiences we've had, so that we can shift them, see life from a new perspective and create something new. So that was interesting. So then I thought, okay, I will go and interfere, and I will get a container, like in my dream with the fish. I had a container, picked it up out of its environment, took it to somewhere that I considered to be safer, where it ultimately was collected by bigger fish. And so I had a little bit of a struggle because my cats did not want me to take the mouse away, but I caught him, took him, I nearly caught him, my cat got him, and my cat ran outside with him. And as he did, I picked up my cat, massaged his mouth so that he let go of the mouse, tried to get the mouse to run away, and it didn't. It just stayed there like it was in no danger at all. It was probably in shock. And I'm going, go mouse, and I'm touching it, getting it to go. It would walk a few steps and just stay there. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I think it was just in shock. Anyway, I've still got my cat under my arm, so he can't go after it. He's not struggling either. He's not struggling to get away, which he normally would. He'd be struggling to get away so he can get the mouse. He's just sitting there in my arms. Mouse just sitting there. Really strange. And then eventually my other cat comes out just to see what we're doing, sees that there's a mouse sitting there, picks it up, takes it back in the house, and it escapes underneath the couch. So, you know, it's like, in the past I would rescue these mice because I instinctively knew that they would be in shock and that my cats would still be very aware that they were around. I would then put them in this little rehabilitation little house that I've got for them. And just you know, for maybe half a day or a day till the cats have forgotten about them, till I can see that they're walking around, they're eating, they're drinking, then I put them outside. And last time I did that, and I had 2 of them in there because they brought 2 home, 2 baby mice. I tried to release them back into nature, and it didn't work, and they ended up under the couch. One ended up dead, and the other one bit me before I released it, and I just thought, this is silly, trying to rehabilitate them. I'll just take them straight out. So this was a lesson that just taking them straight out also doesn't work. It's like there was this understanding that what's going to happen is going to happen, and this is a cat and mouse game, and the human interference coming from the thinking mind isn't necessarily helpful, but that also my instincts were right to rehabilitate it first if I really wanted to release it into nature. And so then the other message was that I was told that there's a plague of mice in Australia, New South Wales, where I lived before here. I'm from Australia. And there are videos of, I'll see if I can link below, of just thousands, hundreds of thousands of mice. Like the floor is just covered in, it's thick with mice running around. And I thought, wow, a few cats out there and they'd be gone. But it was really that sense of when something's out of balance. So on that side of the world, there is like an out of balance plague of mice. Mice reproduce so frequently, like 500 mice can be reproduced with one mice couple in one season. And that's because they're supposed to be eaten, because they're food, right? And here I am trying to save one mouse on the other side of the world. So it's really, that's all, the messages were coming through those kind of experiences. And then what the cards are saying here. So the snake is about living according to your divine essence. So the snake is at the center, and snakes eat mice also. The snake is at the center of this reading, so it's the center point of both the horizontal and the vertical axis. So we can see the vertical axis as heaven down to earth, like the subconscious, the superconscious, the soul level, and the mundane level. And we can see the horizontal axis as what's around us, what's going on for us in the physical plane, what we're learning, what we're growing through. And the snake one is where we're connecting to the foundational matter and the overarching matter, spiritual matter. So the snake brings its, it inherently has light codes and divine wisdom, knowledge, energy from Lemuria and Atlantis. It brings the advanced civilization information into physical form. It carries it with it. And I've just recently finished a painting of the snake containing a lot of codes, so I'm going to just share that here as well. So the snake is also about being aware of what's around you. So it's interesting that it's the central card. So it is about predator-prey and being aware of who are the predators, who are your friends, who are your who is living their lives from ego consciousness, from service to self, from personal gain, and who is living from their heart and their soul and unity consciousness, who is working to bring in those higher consciousness like we had in Lemuria and Atlantis, the golden era, the new earth, the ascension, and what can you affect and what can't you, and what are you supposed to affect from your higher consciousness. It's also about the fact that you are holding energy yourself, so just like the snake, from your soul wisdom, from levels of consciousness you've attained in other lifetimes that you are re-accessing now, and there's a re-accessing of that now in this moment at this super full moon, and how that can be of use in your environment, in relation to others, and in your own life, and in your high mission, and being aware that everything you say and everything you do is affecting others, but doing that from connected to the higher plan, to the unity consciousness, from your heart, from your soul, not from that trying to work it out at a physical level. So the action you take comes from the higher knowing, and your intention to be connected to positive progress and unity consciousness. So the horse, where we're going to, is about caring for others and letting them be free. And that's exactly what that is. It's being balanced and clear in yourself, so much so that extends out to others around you. Extending that love to others without trying to direct how that looks or what they do with that. It's just being that beacon of love and light and allowing that to extend to others, giving yourself the respect and freedom to be who you are, and extending that to others. And when you do that, that's allowing that higher plan to extend through you into the world around you. And it's trusting them that they're connected to the higher plan as well. And that they're on a journey of discovery of themselves and how they connect to that. And just holding space for that. So the hedgehog at the bottom, being a magnet for light, love and joy, is really about that. So that's at the foundation. But so really this is at the level of intentionality of what you're doing here on this planet, what your soul's experiencing. It's really being in your heart and allowing that higher wisdom to work through you, the higher love to work through you. The owl is the messenger of the angels. So it's that higher wisdom coming in. It's that higher viewpoint, and it's bringing the mission. I love that there's a full moon in both those central cards there, and also the horse. There's a full moon in all of those. And the goat, act from your innate wisdom. So this is where we're coming from. And that's what I'm talking about there in terms of the discerning what is your instinct. My instinct, my higher knowing of, if I'm going to interfere in this situation, how is that in alignment with unity and what's at the highest good for all, was to rehabilitate the mouse until it's out of shock and the cats have forgotten about it. Therefore, the cats have had their play, and then I can release the mouse back into nature to do all its good work with the seeds and the trees and the burrows. That doesn't always work. So that's not necessarily the higher plan. But that would have been, but that was my instinct. And so with the goats go up to the top of the mountain and they have a higher perspective and they look down. They also have a really good balance between being on their own, spending time on their own, and being in community. So there's a balance there as well. They have a balance between the lower, and they have a balance between the higher. So I also, there was with the instinct of what to do, and then when I, so then this is about interference with, so how I interfered with the mouse. I then realised that I projected when there's a plague of mouse out of balance in Australia. It's like, well, get a few cats in there, but that's not what they'll do. They will probably poison the environment. They'll put poison out, which will not only affect the mice, it'll affect the balance of nature, because it will affect possibly plants and other animals, and animals that eat the mice, and so it was about that human level interference and really trying to connect to the greater good, the higher plan, what works with nature, what works with the animals, recognizing that nature and the animals all have their place and they all have a mechanism, and as do we all, as do all of us, even in just our human worlds, not only the way we affect nature and the animals, but even in our jobs and in our roles in relationships. And what our purpose here is much bigger than what we do and what we can control and what's going on at our human mind level. So this central pillar is the self. It's like the Aries, like this is our self, and how we exist and what we connect to within ourselves and within all the aspects of ourselves, including our star origins, our genetic origins, all the parts of us. Like we might have connections to the angelic or to the fairies or to the stars and different constellations, but we may also be born in one country and grow up there, but have ancestry in other countries, and then have soul connections with other cultures, and we can't help going visiting those countries and feeling at home there. So this is about the aspects of ourselves that we access, that we pull in, that we recognize in ourselves, and how we relate to others. So this horizontal axis, the goat, snake and horse, you can see these are about how we bring that self-mastery, self-understanding, self-concept out, and use our knowledge, our wisdom, our soul gifts, as well as our observations of those around us and our observations of how things work, and bringing the unity consciousness in, bringing the love and light in, to then relate to others around us, which is the Libra. So we've got the Aries, the vertical, and the Libra at the horizontal. So that's the message, and I hope I've been clear there. I wasn't expecting to bring this message through today, but the cards came out last night, and then all of this has happened this morning. I'm working on a painting that's very active today as well, which I'll put on my other channel. It's about relationships, but it's specifically about soul relationships, and specifically about twin flames, but it's divine masculine feminine unity, sacred marriage. So it works for whatever kind of soul relationship. There's some light language that wants to come through now. It's based on the central card, the snake, living according to your divine essence. I'm being pulled over to the goat now, which is acting from your innate wisdom. So this is also seeing the higher perspective, looking down on all the activity below you in your community and all around you, from the higher perspective. And I can really see the horns of the goat surround like antennas, surrounded by that magic that's pulling in, and the active third eye. And I'm seeing that if you follow it through to the middle card upwards to the moon, there where the snake's head is, and that's the snake bringing the wisdom from ancient civilizations of Lemuria and Atlantis, and then following that line of energy through the rainbow into the unicorn, into the unicorn's horn, into the horse, and again with that moon present. So the unicorn being like the higher consciousness, the higher dimensional aspect of the horse, and his horn being the third eye, wisdom and purity, going into the horse at the 3D level, affecting the consciousness at the 3D level, at the mundane physical world level. And coming out through the horse's heart, where the horse is caring for the loved ones, the younger generation. That's now taking us down into the heart of the hedgehog, being a magnet for light, love and joy, which is feeding back up into the snake, and that bottom snake there, with that explosion of light there, and the baby snake emerging from the egg, which also connects to my painting. You'll see the eggs on the beach there, living according to your divine essence. So birthing new generations that are living according to their love, light, joy, and divine essence. And in fact, in that horizontal axis there, which is about Libra, it's about relating to others, which is like two people, two vibrations, the scales, balance. They all have babies. Each animal has babies. And I do believe this is also about the new generation of star seeds coming in, of higher consciousness, being conceived now. I'm feeling a grounding of that coming down through the vertical axis. So there's I'm being shown the 3 full moons in this spread, in the upper left corner there, and I'm also being aware that they're all to the left of the creature. So it's the left side, the intuitive side, listening to the intuitive, the information coming into the left ear, coming into the feminine side, about the nurturing of the new generation of starseeds and way showers, who are bringing a higher vibration onto the planet for the ascension. Also, especially the ones coming through the twin flame unity, who are in higher soul relationship. And the inevitability of this, so where the messages were about human interference in the higher plan. It just not, no matter what you do, it's always going to work out the same. This is what they're saying about soul relationships as well. It's a sacred marriage, and it doesn't matter how many times people try to interfere or things appear to go wrong. It's always going to come together as it's meant to. And those that are supposed to be birthing these star seeds for the evolution of the planet into higher consciousness and love and light are doing so. And there's a real sense of there being a now moment. And so they're reminding me of this stillness, how the cat was under my bed, had caught its prey and was sitting there still. The mouse just not running, just sitting in front of him. So it's also the runner-chaser has completed the runner-chaser dynamic. And this is because we are now facing our fears. So the runner instead would run. So let me just clarify. In these high level soul relationships, as the higher energies come in, become more and more embodied, there's a runner-chaser dynamic that shows up, and that's because it triggers wounds from the past, wounds from past lives, wounds from the ancestry and the genetics, and it brings up fears. And in other lifetimes or other experiences in our souls, there have been horrendous experiences, obviously often deaths and things like that, and really traumatic, painful experiences, which get re-traumatized as the light of our twin flame or our divine counterpart shines on us. It activates, and us for them, it activates those wounds, and they have to play out. So it activates the trauma that was lying dormant. It's like having post-traumatic stress syndrome, but from other lifetimes, so you don't know what the cause of it was. and it's extreme pain, and we work through that and we bring our light to it and we transmute it and we clear it. So as that occurs, there's a running, so there's a pulling apart, a coming together, a pulling apart, a coming together. And so what I'm being shown now, especially as the energies of Lemuria and Atlantis are starting to, like the traumas and the downfall there are being cleared energetically, collectively by the light workers, there's a coming into peace and balance there between the trauma, and especially in those times when they got out of balance. Lemuria got out of balance in the feminine way, Atlantis got out of balance in the masculine way, and so it was a time similar to this in a way, where technology became out of balance. The qualities of unity were lost, and the powers and controllers were overriding human rights, doing experimentation on people, things like that. So as all of this invasiveness and things happening outside of the control are clearing out of the collective energies, out of the energy of the earth, the soul unions are coming in, and so the soul unions are bringing their light in, and the more they work through their things and come more into unity, they can embody more in their body. And as they come more into their body and their body accepts, it pushes out more stuff, and as it does that, it pushes it out collectively. So as all of these twin flames and advanced souls are doing their work on the energetic, and that also can be seen at times by all these what appear toxic behaviours, but it is actually the counterparts doing their work in the 3D level as well. And there is always this unity between the pair, even though they're not consciously aware of it. There is a higher unity going on in the 5D and above. There's a plan, and you are both playing it out. You're playing it out in complete synchrony and unity. It doesn't feel like that at the mental level, the level of conscious understanding, because every time you try to interfere with good intentions, it doesn't work, but there is a divine plan, and so what I'm getting is this coming a still point now. It's coming a still point where you can sit and be in presence, just looking at each other, even predator and prey, as these energies are clearing out, and they're clearing out, they're coming into balance. We're at a balance point now with the Libra full moon, balance between service to self and service to others, a real coming into balance. And as that's coming up and we're addressing our shadows, we're addressing our fears, we're sitting with them instead of running from them, there's a unity dropping in. There's a unity dropping in, and when we're able to sit in those painful places and just work through them, there's an expansion that's happening through the heart. There's an expansion that's happening through the hearts of humanity. And the unity is really being able to be embodied, the unity of divine relationship, of sacred marriage. I'll talk about the sacred marriage and the energies I've been feeling coming in around that when I post the painting that I'm doing at the moment. I just feel like I need to sit in stillness now while the energies come in. There's energies coming in, they're permeating through my heart to all of you guys about the codes that give you the understanding at the soul level of what I'm talking about here and what I've been saying. And really letting your bodies receive this balance and this ability to sit in the darkness that the light brings up as it comes in, that the love brings up as it comes in, and trusting it. And staying in stillness until you feel the inspiration coming from your knowing and that place of peace to take action. And then that will be inspired action. Okay, that's the message for today. I hope you can all really receive that. A lot of frequency was emitted through that whole explanation as well as the light language. So please do receive that, and drink a lot of water. Take time out if you need to. Listen to it as many times as you need to really get that at all levels of your being. Happy full moon, everybody. Blessings.